Part 1. Title and Outline. Building Business Resilience, a comprehensive guide to continuity planning, downtime factors, and disaster recovery strategies. Outline of key sections. Business environment. Overview of business continuity planning and downtime factors. Discussion of downtime factors. Explanation of RTO, RPO, maximum replacement time, and mean time to repair. Importance of stakeholders, different stakeholders and their relevant downtime factors. Role of management. Involvement of management in determining risk tolerance and recovery objectives. Frameworks for continuity. Importance of risk management, incident management, and business continuity frameworks. Technology and costs. Impact of downtime factors on technology acquisition and associated costs, with an example case study. Redundancy and resilience. Ensuring redundancy in network design and resource allocation. Recovery strategies. Different types of recovery strategies, hot site, warm site, cold site, etc., and their applications. Quantifying impact. Importance of business impact analysis, and regular reviews. Testing and documentation. The necessity of testing disaster recovery plans, types of tests, and follow-up activities. Conclusion. Summary and emphasis on the need for comprehensive planning and regular updates. Part 2. Business environment. Business environment. Businesses today often face hyper and multi-point competition from all over the world, not just local or national rivals. The rise of e-commerce and digital platforms has disrupted traditional retail and service models. Platforms like Amazon, Google, and Alibaba have revolutionized business models by connecting users and providers, facilitating transactions, and creating ecosystems. Companies must now compete not only with local businesses, but also with international online giants. Globalization has enabled companies to enter new markets and compete internationally. In response, companies develop global commercial strategies to navigate this interconnected landscape, focusing on leveraging international markets, optimizing supply chains, and adapting to diverse consumer preferences and regulatory environments to remain competitive and sustainable in a globalized economy. On the other hand, China's economic rise and increasing geopolitical tensions, such as trade wars and protectionist policies, have led to a more fragmented global order. These tensions create uncertainties for businesses operating internationally. Modern consumers are more informed and have higher expectations. They demand better quality, personalized experiences, and quicker delivery, forcing companies to innovate continuously. The evolution from mechanization to mass production, followed by automation and robotization, has set the stage for the era of human-centric innovation, where technology harmoniously integrates with societal needs. The emerging Fifth Industrial Revolution envisions a synergy between humans and advanced technologies, emphasizing human-centric innovations, sustainable development, and ethical considerations, aiming for a harmonious integration of technological progress with societal well-being. Disruptive innovations in technology, such as artificial intelligence, big data, and the Internet of Things (IoT), have transformed how businesses operate and compete. Industrial cities, industrial regions, global production networks, global value chains, and the synergy between humans and advanced technologies define the transformative features of each industrial revolution phase. At the highest level organizational maturity, leadership, innovation is disruptive, culture productivity, agility are regenerative, leadership is inspirational, digital capabilities are cutting edge, and resilience involves turning adversity into an advantage. These features guide organizations from vulnerability to transformative leadership and resilience. In this rapidly evolving business landscape, it is paramount for companies to adapt not only their operational and strategic approaches, but also to prioritize resilience and continuity. Part 3. Business resilience and management structure. Verbatim. Business resilience. Business resilience is crucial and can often be overlooked in strategic planning. Many organizations focus on sales, revenue projections, and profit margins, but neglect business continuity. This should start with the strategic planning process. Strategic integration of security and business continuity. Leading organizations like Microsoft and Amazon Web Services (AWS) demonstrate how information security, International Organization for Standardization 27001, and business continuity, International Organization for Standardization 22301, should be strategically integrated. Their approach shows these aren't compliance checkboxes but core business differentiators. AWS implements these standards through Certified Global Infrastructure, Elastic Compute Cloud, EC2, Simple Storage Service 3, and Relational Database Service, RDS, with robust information security management systems, ISMS, comprehensive security controls, encryption, identity and access management, IAM, network security, regular third-party audits, aligned with system and organization controls too, Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, PCI DSS, resilient architecture, multi-availability zone, deployments, 99.99% uptime, clear shared responsibility model for cloud security. For business continuity success, organizations must embed continuity planning equally with financial projections, publicly communicate resilience commitments, establish clear executive oversight, led by a chief-level suite director, develop cross-departmental governance structures. This strategic approach transforms continuity from an information technology concern to an organizational capability that supports long-term sustainability and stakeholder confidence. Business continuity management structure. The business continuity manager serves a critical function, operating similarly to a project or program manager. Key responsibilities include delivering regular status reports to the executive committee, coordinating with department heads to implement continuity measures across all business units, implementation protocols, resource allocation. Organizations without a dedicated manager must assign continuity oversight to department heads. Internal auditors may provide interim support during initial implementation phases. Their role includes framework development until program maturity, followed by transition to the oversight committee. 2. Performance measurement. Must establish quantifiable metrics for evaluating program effectiveness. Typical maturity progression occurs over a 2 to 3 year timeframe. Continuous assessment drives iterative improvement. 3. Program composition. Comprehensive programs incorporate disaster recovery (DR) plans, crisis communication protocols, business continuity of operations, compare plans. All components collectively enhance organizational resilience. Part 4. Risk Principles and Downtime Factors, verbatim. Risk Management Principles. Risk appetite. The organization's willingness to accept risk in pursuit of objectives, qualitative. Risk tolerance. Quantifiable thresholds that operationalize risk appetite, quantitative. Practical example. Investment decisions demonstrate variance in tolerance. Conservative approach. Limited capital allocation. Aggressive strategy, significant investment exposure, risk appetite and tolerance across sectors. Public sector. Risk appetite, generally lower due to public accountability and stewardship of public funds. Risk tolerance, quantified through strict policies, compliance with legal regulatory requirements, and minimized risk exposure. Private sector, mature businesses. Risk appetite, well defined, with calculated risks taken for strategic objectives, e.g., market expansion, innovation. Risk tolerance, measured via detailed risk assessments and mitigation strategies to keep losses within acceptable limits. Private sector, startups. Risk appetite, higher, driven by the need for rapid growth and innovation. Risk tolerance, agile risk management, balances high reward potential with failure risks. General concepts. Risk appetite, qualitative willingness to accept risk. Risk tolerance, quantitative thresholds for acceptable loss. E.g., investment decisions. Application to business continuity planning. Downtime factors. Recovery point objective, RPO. Maximum acceptable data loss, e.g., 1 hour RPO, requires hourly backups. Reflects risk tolerance. Recovery time objective, RTO. Maximum acceptable downtime for systems, e.g., CRM, e-commerce. Other factors. Maximum replacement time, critical staff. Mean time to repair, MTTR, equipment/production. Stakeholder-specific needs. IT teams, focus on RPO/RTO. HR, manages maximum replacement time. Operations, tracks MTTR for machinery. Web server, 15-minute sync right pointing arrow 15-minute data loss. Orphaned transactions may occur. Redundancy and costs. Lack of redundancy, e.g., single routers, increases failure risk. Higher RPO/RTO stringency demands greater investment, e.g., real-time backups, hot sites. Example scenarios. Data server, 6-hour backup interval, right pointing arrow 6-hour data loss if outage occurs before backup. Web server, 15-minute sync right pointing arrow 15-minute data loss. Orphaned transactions may occur. Part 5. Strategic planning and frameworks. Strategic business continuity planning. Challenges. Often deprioritized versus revenue goals. Delegated to junior staff despite its strategic importance. Solutions. Executive involvement. Board CFO COO must set risk appetite tolerance and approve RPO/RTO. Cross-departmental collaboration, aligning IT, HR, and operations on downtime factors. Education. Train leadership on risk management to bridge gaps in continuity planning. Key takeaway. Effective continuity planning requires balancing operational resilience with strategic risk management, ensuring minimal disruption during crises. Critical frameworks for resilience. 3 frameworks are essential for all organizations: Risk Management Framework, Incident Management Framework, Business Continuity Framework. Implementation principles. Administrative technical controls. Policy must guide technology decisions. Corrected from reversed phrasing. Redundancy integration, mandatory in network design, e.g., alternate routers, systems, to mitigate failure risks. Part 6. Recovery strategies and cooperative arrangements. Recovery strategy fundamentals. Cost components. Fixed costs, preparation expenses, e.g., backup sites, variable costs, activation expenses during disruptions. Insurance note. Premiums may decrease with robust preparedness. Clarified relationship. Recovery strategy types. Type description use case. Cold site empty facility, requires hardware setup. Long RTO scenarios. Warm site partial infrastructure, needs configuration. Moderate RTO needs. Hot site fully operational replica, low RTO tolerance. Reciprocal shared resources with peer organizations. Industry-specific collaborations. Decision factors. Tolerance for downtime versus budget allocation. Proportional clarified to avoid mathematical implication. Example, Coca-Cola and Pepsi mutual aid agreements require excess capacity. Cooperative arrangements. Organizations establish various cooperative arrangements. Historical example, banks exchange backup disks for data availability. Modern examples. Shared firefighting equipment between nearby institutions. Healthcare mutual aid agreements. Supplies personnel during emergencies. Key distinction. Reciprocal arrangement requires equivalent exchange, e.g., peer organizations sharing identical resources. Service contract. Financial compensation for services, e.g., paid fire rescue, lacks reciprocity. Business continuity plans in manufacturing. Critical components. Mobile sites. Rapid replacement of non-operational facilities. Duplicate facilities. Redundant parallel operations, e.g., application clustering. MNC model mirrors multinational corporations' phased resilience development. Part 7. Recovery strategy selection and BIA. Appropriate recovery strategy. Selection criteria. Business impact analysis, BIA, identifies critical processes, threats, and resource gaps. Requirement. Must involve senior staff. Junior delegation risks suboptimal strategies. Audit finding example. IT asset shortfalls necessitate phased procurement plans. Downtime factors. Derived from top management's risk appetite, e.g., IT staff replacement timelines. Cost-benefit evaluation. Balance recovery time costs versus disruption impacts. Implementation sequence. Ratify recovery strategies. Senior management approval. develop continuity/contingency plans, determining RPOS, RTOS, and acceptable downtimes. Recovery point objectives, RPOs, and recovery time objectives, RTOs, form the foundation of effective disaster recovery planning. RPOs define the maximum tolerable data loss measured in time, while RTOs establish the maximum acceptable duration for restoring operations after disruption. Organizations typically implement tiered RPO approaches based on their needs. A zero data loss RPO, essential for financial institutions, requires continuous real-time data replication. Near-zero RPOs allow seconds to minutes of data loss using snapshot technologies, suitable for most mission-critical systems. Hourly RPOs through automated backups serve operations needing quick recovery, while daily and weekly RPOs accommodate less time-sensitive data, where backup costs outweigh potential loss. Similarly, RTOs range from immediate restoration, requiring high availability systems for uninterrupted operations, to extended RTOs permitting week-long outages for non-essential services. Short-term RTOs, minutes to hours, protect critical functions, whereas medium-term, hours to days, and long-term, multiple days, RTOs apply to progressively less urgent operations. This tiered approach mirrors how chefs balance preparation time with meal quality. Organizations must weigh acceptable downtime against resilience costs. Part 8. Case studies and technical implementation. Conducting business impact analysis. A thorough business impact analysis (BIA) quantifies potential disruption consequences to inform recovery planning. The process calculates three key metrics: downtime costs including lost revenue and penalties, RTOs determining restoration urgency for each function, and RPOs establishing data protection requirements. For instance, a database with 15-minute RPO tolerance demands different solutions than one allowing 24-hour data loss. The BIA's output directly shapes an organization's continuity strategy by identifying which systems warrant immediate RTO/FARPO protection versus those permitting longer recovery windows. Case studies in business continuity planning. In the healthcare sector, one provider's business impact analysis revealed their patient management system carried a $200,000 hourly downtime cost, requiring restoration within 3 hours, RTO, while limiting data loss to 15 minutes, RPO. To meet these requirements, they implemented active-active clustering technology combined with 10-minute interval backups, ensuring continuous access to critical patient records. The manufacturing industry presents equally compelling examples. One automotive plant from the 1990s determined their automated production line had a $300,000 per hour outage impact, needing restoration within 2 hours, while tolerating no more than 20 minutes of data loss. Their solution involved deploying active-active clusters with continuous data replication across geographically separate facilities. These real-world scenarios demonstrate how quantitative analysis of operational risks informs effective protection strategies. By calculating precise downtime costs and establishing measurable recovery objectives, organizations can implement tailored solutions that balance risk tolerance with implementation costs. Technical implementation considerations. Modern enterprises typically evaluate several technological approaches to ensure business continuity. Clustering solutions range from active-passive configurations, where backup systems activate during failures, to active-active implementations that maintain continuous load-balanced operation, as exemplified by major platforms like Facebook. For data protection, RAID arrays provide hardware-level redundancy, while replication methods offer varying levels of protection. Synchronous replication ensures real-time data copying for zero data loss environments, while asynchronous approaches provide more bandwidth-efficient periodic transfers. Network resilience similarly requires layered solutions, including multiple telecom providers, diverse physical cabling routes, and dynamic routing protocols that automatically redirect traffic during outages. These technical measures work best when carefully matched to the organization's specific recovery objectives and risk tolerance levels identified during the business impact analysis. Part 9. Maintenance and testing. Maintenance and continuous improvement. Ongoing plan maintenance involves regularly updating documentation to reflect system changes, personnel updates, and revised recovery procedures. Perhaps most critically, organizations must commit to regular testing, through methods ranging from tabletop walkthroughs to partial failover tests and annual full interruption drills. The pandemic experience demonstrated that organizations with robust testing programs adapted more successfully to unprecedented disruptions, while those without adequate testing often discovered their plans contained unexpected gaps during actual crises. Post-test reviews and gap remediation form the foundation for continuous improvement, ensuring plans evolve alongside the business. Without this commitment to regular testing and updating, even the most thoroughly documented plans may prove ineffective when needed most. Testing serves several purposes: verifying the completeness and accuracy of response and recovery plans, identifying gaps in disaster recovery planning, evaluating the performance of personnel involved in recovery exercises, assessing the effectiveness of training provided to personnel, determining the coordination among team members and interactions with vendors and suppliers, measuring the capability of backup sites to perform prescribed processing, ensuring the speed of retrieving vital documents, evaluating the quantity and condition of relocated equipment and supplies, assessing the overall performance of operational and information processing activities related to maintaining the business entity. Testing disaster recovery plans is essential for improving the organization's disaster recovery efforts' effectiveness. Effective testing can highlight areas of improvement, since having an untested disaster recovery plan may result in inefficiencies during a crisis. Thus, it is necessary to test disaster recovery planning efforts. Part 10. Testing details and conclusion. Verbatim. Testing should focus on identifying gaps rather than targeting individuals. This way, any shortcomings can be addressed before a real disaster occurs. It is important to involve auditors as observers in the testing process to ensure transparency. Testing also verifies assumptions about the disaster recovery plan, allowing organizations to confirm or discard them based on the results. Organizations should test timelines to evaluate recovery speed, including recovery point objectives and recovery time objectives. Additionally, they must test strategy effectiveness, e.g., hot site versus cold site, and ensure plan accuracy, including current contact details and regulatory compliance. Clear objectives should precede actual testing to guide the process and assess outcomes. Following up on test recommendations is crucial. For example, if personnel cannot recover a database server, additional training might be required. Consistent follow-up ensures recommendation implementation. Testing phases include pre-test preparations, test execution, post-test activities, resource return and recommendation follow-up. Test types progress in complexity. Checklist review, structured walkthrough, simulation test, parallel test, full interruption test. Typically annual. Testing should evolve from simple checklists to complex simulations over time, triggered by major plan revisions, key personnel changes, technology updates, regulatory changes. Metrics should gauge testing success against objectives, with results refining both the disaster recovery plan and testing procedures. Key concepts table, concept description. Business resilience, essential for strategic planning, though often overlooked. Business continuity should be part of all strategic plans. Information security, aligned with ISO 27001. Business continuity management, aligned with ISO 22301. Oversight body, chaired by an executive director and includes department heads. Business continuity manager acts like a project manager, providing regular status reports. Internal auditors assist in setting up the business continuity framework. Metrics and measures, crucial for evaluating business continuity processes. Disaster recovery plans part of a comprehensive continuity and contingency program. Recovery point objective, RPO, defines the acceptable level of data loss. Recovery time objective, RTO, sets the maximum acceptable downtime. Downtime factors include maximum replacement time and mean time to repair. Redundancy, ensure operational continuity during disruptions. Cold site, an alternate facility without servers and equipment. Warm site, an alternate facility with network infrastructure but no active servers. Hot site, a fully prepared alternate facility, ready for immediate operation. Reciprocal agreements. Organizations share facilities during disruptions. Business impact analysis, BIA, identifies critical processes, threats, and contingencies. Clustering eliminates single points of failure through redundant systems. Active-passive clustering one active instance with others ready to take over if needed. Active-active clustering. All instances are running simultaneously. RAID data replication using an array of independent disks. Synchronous replication. Simultaneous data writing in primary and alternate locations. Asynchronous replication. Replication occurs during off-peak periods. Adaptive replication. Periodic data replication. Disaster recovery plan includes structured processes for efficient disaster response. Testing disaster recovery plans. Verifies completeness and identifies gaps. Types of tests include checklist review, structured walkthrough, simulation test, parallel test, and full interruption test. Metrics and measures. Gauge the success of planning and testing. Business resilience and continuity. Core principles. From fundamentals to executive strategy. 1. Why resilience matters. Today's businesses face unprecedented threats, from cyberattacks to supply chain disruptions, while operating in a world where customers expect 99.99% uptime, as demonstrated by cloud giants like AWS. Compliance with ISO 22301 for business continuity and ISO 27001 for information security is no longer optional, but a baseline requirement for credibility. 2. Defining key metrics. Every organization must quantify its resilience through 3 core metrics. Recovery time objective, RTO, the maximum tolerable downtime. For example, a 4-hour RTO means critical systems must restore functionality within 4 hours of an outage. Recovery point objective, RPO, the maximum acceptable data loss measured in time. A 15-minute RPO requires backups every 15 minutes. Mean time to repair, MTTR, the average time to fix failed equipment, such as a production line with a 2-hour MTTR. 3. Stakeholder responsibilities. Resilience is a cross-functional effort. C-suite executives set the organization's risk appetite, qualitative willingness to take risks, and risk tolerance. Quantitative thresholds like investment limits. IT teams implement technical safeguards like server clustering and data replication. Operations ensures physical redundancy for equipment and facilities. HR plans for rapid staff replacement during crises. 4. Recovery strategy options. Organizations choose strategies based on their RTO/RPO needs and budget. Cold sites, empty facilities requiring setup, suit long RTO scenarios, 48+ hours, and minimize costs. Warm sites, partially equipped, balance cost and speed, typically serving 8 to 24-hour RTO needs. Hot sites, fully operational replicas, enable near-instant recovery, is less than or equal to 1-hour RTO, but at premium costs. Reciprocal agreements allow peer organizations, e.g., banks or hospitals, to share resources during emergencies. 5. Implementation roadmap. A 4-phase framework ensures systematic resilience. Business impact analysis, BIA. Quantify downtime costs for each function. Strategy selection. Align RTO/RPO targets with budgetary realities. Redundancy deployment. Implement multi-location backups, RAID arrays, and dual provider networks. Testing regimen. Conduct annual full-scale disruption drills and quarterly simulations. 6. Industry-specific insights. Startups leverage cloud-native redundancy due to high-risk appetite. Manufacturers prioritize MTTR with equipment redundancies. Healthcare enforces strict RPOs, e.g., 15-minute patient data backups, and HIPAA compliance. Financial institutions demand zero data loss, synchronous replication. 7.